we arrive in Kashmir, and Kashmir is this so-called violent place. And as I'm entering Kashmir, the security guys come to me and say, listen, we need to talk to you. So what do you need to say? And they say, well, look, the thing is, you can't walk in Kashmir, right? It's not a good idea. We're walking 3 days, and we're walking 3 days in the roughest districts. So you can't walk in Kashmir. It's a bad idea. So I'm like, why can't I walk in Kashmir? And they're like, well, because you'll get hand grenades thrown on you. So now I'm responsible for 120 people I'm working with, right? So I'm like, look, let me go and have a little word with them. And so I go and have a little word with them and say, look, they're telling us they're going to get hand grenades thrown at us. And they're like, okay. And I was like, frankly, I want to walk. I mean, you know, if we get hand grenades, we get hand grenades. So they're like, yeah, we should all walk. And so we decided we're going to walk. And we start to walk. And suddenly what starts to happen is these Indian flags start coming everywhere, right? Everywhere, they just start coming out, right? The first day we're told about 2,000 people are going to show up, and 40,000 people show up, right? And that thing over there, where I'm sitting on that jeep, is because the police and security system just been overloaded, and it's collapsed. Right, because they can't manage the crowd. And if you look carefully, you'll see the panic on the security people's faces. Anyway, they pull us out of that and say, this just doesn't work. We can't go through this in this manner. And then the next day they set it up properly, and then we go through. That's us entering Kashmir where the mountains are. That's on the first day. And then the really interesting thing happens. So we've been told we're going to be killed. We're walking. And people are coming. And then one guy looks at me and he says, call me. So I'm like, come. And the security people have said, listen, please don't do this. Please don't call people. Like we walk here, don't call people. Because this is putting everybody at risk. So the guy says, call me. I say, come. So he comes. So he comes, starts walking next to me. And he says, Mr. Gandhi, you've come here to listen to us. So I'm like, yes. So he's like, that's interesting. He's like, you really come here to listen to us? And I'm like, yes. So he's like, good. And then he says, you see those guys over there? And we're walking. And he says, you see those guys over there? And I'm like, yes, who? He's like, those boys over there. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, the militants, right? Now, militants should normally kill me. In that environment, militants should kill me. And he says, they're there. And they're looking at you. So I look at them, and they give me this sort of, I'm serious, they give me this sort of look. And I'm like, okay, I'm now in trouble, right? Because this guy's just told me this. They give me this look, and I give them this look back. And then we carry on, nothing happens, right? And why I'm telling you this is because they actually couldn't do anything. They actually didn't have the power to do anything, even if they wanted to. Because I had come into that environment listening. And I had come into that environment completely with no violence in me at all. And the vast number of people there were seeing that, right? So that to me was an indicator of the power of listening and nonviolence. Now, what did we hear in India? The main thing, we heard that, and this you don't hear in the media. In the media, you have a completely different discourse going on. You have Bollywood, you have cricket, you have all sorts of other stuff. What we heard in India is, the main thing we heard is unemployment. That India is simply not producing the jobs its youngsters need, period, the end. And that's everybody, all the young people, okay? So I want to leave you with that. Now let's go to the next. So now